Oh, I am super excited today. I am Maria Quattrone, and this is the Be the Solution podcast. And today I have a very special guest. If you don't know him, you need to get to know him. This is Jay Doran, culture man. True, Jay's all about culture, but Jay and I have gone back now well over a decade, and we've had a very interesting relationship over the last decade in a very good way. And so I'm very excited to have Jay back on the show today. Jay, so this morning I was thinking about because I was inspired by you doing the quotes, so I started doing the quotes.
Oh, that's awesome.
So this is the quote I picked for you today. The only thing we have to fear is fear itself. Franklin Delano Roosevelt.
Wow.
The only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
Thanks.
You're welcome. That quote, though, is something that resonates with me because I think that, well, for me anyway, think about what holds you back. If you knew you would not fail, what would you attempt to do? And if we think about it, most people stop or don't get started because of fear, the fear of what if, in a good way and in a bad way. The fear of what if? What if I actually am successful in this endeavor? What if I'm not successful? But I think it's more of what if I am. Anyway.
I love the
Excited.
topic because I think
Excited.
fear, it's an honor to be here and an honor to have the relationship and to work together over all these years in so many different contexts. And I think it's such a, that could be a book, really.
Really?
But it's an honor to be on Be the Solution. I love the idea and I'm inspired by the idea of being a solution. And I love the quote, FDR. That was I don't know a lot about his story, but wasn't he instrumental, I think, in World War II and all of that?
The New Deal.
And he was in a wheelchair at one point, I think, FDR, Franklin, because there's another Roosevelt that I get confused sometimes. I think they were related, but I'm inspired by both. I don't know enough about FDR, but I love the quote because I think fear undermines culture, actually. And
sure.
It's an interesting place to start, inspired by it. So
fear does undermine culture, but yet fear is not real.
Well, fear,
it's not really real, but it is real.
There are things could go wrong, and it's like self-awareness and fear have a relationship. Like the more like that's where because think about it, if I'm not thinking about the consequences, I might just need exactly what I need to move into action. Whereas if I get stunted, like I'd be stunted by thinking about all the different things that could happen. So like fear, what keeps us alive. Fear is a part of like life. Fear, Nietzsche said, to live is to suffer, to survive is to find meaning in the suffering. So like to live is to suffer. Life is scary. Life is hard. We're kind of thrown into this thing, and we've got to figure it out. And so fear is I think fear drives me on such a deep level, and it's how I've been using it. I haven't always used it in the most effective ways. Anyway, could go on and on about fear, but I think I'll give you an example. Let's say that things are going really well in the business, like everything's just going really well. Well, I'm not driven by the fear. Like I have to be more responsible because there's a lack of accountability from things just not going right. Like it's a completely different. The question becomes, well, where does that motivation and where does that inspiration come from outside of fear? Like we're actually successful now. That's where the culture conversation starts. What's our vision? What's our mission? What do we stand for? Making what was once implicit or not spoken or not written down, it was just in us. Like, I want to be successful. I want people to take me seriously. I want money. I want to be rich. Like that's a different human than like the person that starts the business. That's a different person, different circumstances, different behaviors than the person that has the business now. And so like, I love the quote. It's just so interesting because fear is so important and understanding how to use it, and understanding how to not be overwhelmed by it.
Well, that's part of it.
Okay, maybe that's where.
So that's part of it. The overwhelm. So people get into so much overwhelm that this action isn't taken.
I'll give you an example. Like, I might be afraid that if I give honest feedback to my employee or my business partner or my insert whoever, that there could be like negative repercussions.
Yes.
So from a organizational culture standpoint, like the leadership really sets that tone for how communication flows through the business. And if the leadership is in a position of fear, I want to say I have absolutely been in all these things. I mean, what time is it? What is it? I was halfway through the night when I woke up last night. I was in fear, and then this morning I'm like, oh, this is great. Why? Because I wrote some things down. I made some plans. This is not going anywhere. I'm not interested in speaking from like a type of moral superiority or pulpit here. This is like real time, real stuff.
Real time,
real stuff. But where one thing that I can share is when I don't share my vision out of fear, I'm not showing up the best version of myself. I can speak from personal experience. When I'm not sharing my vision out of fear, I'm not, maybe it's like, I don't know if people take it seriously, or I don't know if I'm ready, or some combination, or even, I don't have the words for it. Right? Maybe if I did, I'd be at that next level yet. But that fear is a part of entrepreneurship, I think. The question is, how do we wield it? Think of all the people that they're watching this, they follow you, they love you, they're inspired to you because you took the leap, you have a business, you're very successful what you do for so many years. They're watching this maybe because they are trying to anchor to you and your inspiration because they're afraid to start their business. There could be so many people watching this that are afraid to start their business because of whatever reason, maybe rational. Like, oh, they have 7 kids and they all need to be fed. I'm going to be afraid to start because if I don't succeed, they will all die. So
that's extreme, Jay.
Yeah, everything's extreme. It's fun to live on the extremes.
It's fun.
You got to have fun to quell the fear.
Oh, God. Oh, boy. Well, Jay, why did you want to start Culture Matters?
The original inspiration was the team meetings with the core values. I found myself in those meetings talking about the core values. I was inspired by seeing people's eyes light up. I was inspired by seeing the behavior change. I was inspired by who I felt like when I got to teach. I saw parts of myself that I had never recognized or seen that had not been. I mean, it started with this book. You know, I'm obsessed with books. I was walking in Barnes & Noble and it stuck out. I don't know why I was walking, it just stuck out. Fairly obscure book. If you're interested in culture, you're interested in business. It was called Uncontainable. And it was about the Container Store. Kip Tindall started in 1978. I remember this. This is like 2014 time frame. You know, I had been a majority, helping start a new business from nothing, zero, from a visionary, founder, a visionary founder. And it's, I was anxious and afraid and overwhelmed. And where I go, one of the places I would go was Barnes & Noble. I would look for information. Got me out of fear. Information got me out of fear. So in that book, it said, Kip Tindall said, we started the Container Store in 1978 to help people get more organized. And he attributed their success of like less turnover than the average retailer, higher profit than the average, or higher per capita pay for the average employee in that business, and numerous other exciting things. As a small business owner, I was excited about that idea. Like, oh, wow, you could be successful this way. And he attributed to the 7 founding principles of the Container Store. And I said to myself, what are our values? What do we stand for them? And I remember like putting them all together and being so excited about it. It was helping me construct my own self, find my own self, just to be clear. And I remember presenting it to the team at the time. And Dan, who was amazing, he raised his hand and he said, why are we having this in less kind words is how it felt. Why are we having this meeting? This is a waste of time around these values. And I said, just give me a chance to show you. Like I was like, yeah, that makes sense. I didn't get this last week. give me a chance. And every day, I want to give kudos where kudos is due. At the time, my partner, I considered him a mentor in so many ways. He had been pushing me to be the one to do the meetings. So he saw something in me, do the meetings. And it was boom, every day. Hey, these are our values. This is what they stand for. This is why. And we used them to actually, one of them was the first 3 steps. When the customer walked through the door, they got greeted with a warm, hearty hello. The experience starts at the door and ends with a goodbye. And there was an actionable step. It was like, check in on your Facebook. Here is something. We'll give you water. Check in. And that was like a marketable exercise. And so what happened was, I love to teach. That's like who I am. That's what was discovered there. I like students. They like me. When I'm my best self. And I saw the results of the culture. I saw the results. I also wanted money and respect and all of the things that, to be successful. So I saw the results and I was like, this culture thing is legit. Now, and from all of that, I said to myself, so I'm still trying to find myself, who I am today. I was trying to find me then as a consultant, as an advisor, as an investor, and so on. I got to teach this. I got to do this. Culture matters. And from there, it's just pain and suffering and fear for many years. And anyway, I met you along the way. And so it was being afraid, love the quotes, being afraid, going somewhere that I felt safe, going to information to get out of fear, presenting the new information to the team, seeing, and then giving it time, seeing the results, being inspired, ultimately wanting to go into my vision as an entrepreneur, create what was inside of me that was beyond just this first business. And met all of these years later, we are involved in many of those types of business, small, medium-sized businesses. It's not just, that one original business. It was very successful founder, very gifted. It's called Fusion Gyms. I'm no longer, an investor or a partner in that, but it was one of those movie type with all the pain and suffering along the way and embarrassing mistakes and shameful acts and so on. But that was like the shortest version. I could kind of squeeze that crazy energy, intensity, value creation for customers. And then I saw the culture at its finest, and it absolutely changed the trajectory of my life. And then I was trying to figure out, how the hell am I going to teach this? And how is anybody going to take that seriously? Still
in that process.
Yeah, still in that process. But thankfully for people like yourself early on, especially, that gave me opportunity to serve.
And lots of
who the hell would I be?
We're giving you opportunity to serve now.
Yeah, it's overwhelming.
You
in a good way, but overwhelming.
Yeah, you have a lot going on. I think one of the things in being an entrepreneur, somebody who wants to start a business, is I hear a lot of times, I'm not where I want to be. I'm not at the level I want to be. Have you heard people say that to you? Not at the level I want to be. I want to be here, but I'm here.
Absolutely.
So
that level, yep.
So one of the things I think I said is, who do you have to become? Who is the person that you need to become to be there? It's like radical self-awareness of personal development of who we are as humans. And I think that's a big part of it. The awareness. I've seen it with you, the awareness. Like sometimes we're not aware of even what we're doing.
100%.
A lot of times we're not aware. We need to become aware. It's like everything that we want, that's why this is Be the Solution, is really up to us. It's really up to us as an individual. You could have right? You had people. So we had a period of time where we didn't talk, right? We could have not ever talked together.
Story of my life. I believe in, I think I learn more. I learn from every student, like the teacher. I learn from my students in all sorts of contexts. And just because if a teacher is a teacher in one domain, that doesn't mean they're a teacher in all domains.
Right.
That's an arrogant presupposition.
Presupposition. I like that one.
It's just it's not a good stance to have. So I think I've been a very bad teacher in a lot of ways. I would have that's like because yeah, but I want to be the person at the end of my life looks back and says, oh, messed that up. I sucked at that. And so I don't have the regret, because I think the regret has a relationship with the lack of admitting to oneself, whatever oneself has maybe not owned up to fully or acknowledged. It's like, how can I live with regret if I try to make it right? So, real relationships can be tough if there's, and there's also adversity, two things that destroy small, medium-sized business. Has to be relatable for anybody in business, is partnership breakups and actual life, interpersonal breakups. Small, medium-sized businesses. That's the lion's share of businesses in the country. The millions of businesses, they're 5 million or under a million, under that million, and it goes into the tens of thousands when you go beyond a million, and then it goes into the thousands, and then the hundreds, and then it's like it gets smaller and smaller and smaller. But in that swath of business, statistics, what undermines the businesses that actually have value for the marketplace? It's the human element.
It's always about the human. So, wait in case. I had a meeting with an individual who's a owner of a brokerage company. And this person, it was this person, now the founder, okay? And another person. And the other person was running the meeting. The main person, the founder, was in wherever they were, skiing or something. Doesn't matter. They were on the Zoom. But what they did, the human did,
okay,
they turned off their camera while I was on the Zoom. And they were on the Zoom. The other person was on the Zoom. I'm going to turn my camera off, but I'll be here. So I said, definitely not somebody I want to be in business with. Right off the bat. Don't take the meeting. You're the founder. You're turning your camera off. You're going to listen, but you're not going to participate. Don't take the meeting. Because I now have no respect. Not that I don't have respect. That's the wrong word. But why make somebody question who you are right off the bat?
Well, it's a thing. People are going to question us no matter what right off the bat, as they should, because that keeps us as individuals accountable in a sense. So I would say people are going to question us off the bat. So I would say, as they should. And that's what I would say to that. I think, from a culture standpoint, if that's like the more, I guess I would want to talk to that person about, I would want to hey, this is what happened. This is what was the case. What's your deal? Are we doing this or not? Anything absent of that, and is going to look for some type of story to keep me from being anxious and afraid, which then leads me to be reactive and not proactive. And that is part of what I've learned. I've learned from reading textbooks on psychology and working with advisors and mentors to help me become a better advisor, consultant to businesses. What I've learned as a student is that our brain will play tricks on us. So go back to the relationships piece. When we're building a business and we're building with people, things are going to go wrong because that's part of life. And if we value each other and have living in a state of value, then we should be able to work through it. It doesn't mean it to be able to work through whatever arises. And it doesn't mean necessarily that everything will stay the same. Life is constantly in flux and in change. So it doesn't.
Sure. So
but on piece, I think that was really helpful share for the audience, is who knows what that person was up to, but having a clear standard of what you are looking for or not looking for would be important to you clearly. And that's where, get it, whether that's written down, it's one of the core values, I'm thinking In our company, we show face. So like, and why? Well, we run a virtual company. So when we're on Zoom, you do the best you possibly can to be prepared. Like if that's something that's really important to you, like what's important to you in your company might be different than what's important to somebody here. But the lesson here is that each person has to get clear on what's important to them, and write it down and clear on it, and then and that will now create more opportunity to attract people that share those values. That but there's still going to be this gray in between where we're just not on the same page, and it's going to lead to be like, oh man, I got to have this call or this conversation that I really don't want to have. And if I'm in a fear state, I might have it terrible. That's something I'm definitely guilty of. Just like, it's like how you tell the truth is as important as what you're saying, how you do it. And sometimes I can see so far ahead so clearly that I'll come in like a million miles an hour. And that's like, earth shattering. And it's not my faults than anybody else. That's not great. It's like having, so, but I like that example because that's the stuff that happens every day.
It is.
That person could have, there's so many scenarios. That person could have been seeing how others react to that lack of, I would say, respect. That's the first thought that comes to mind. Doesn't mean it's the right, but you said it already. But it's like, if I want to go to the meeting, I want to come prepared.
But you want to go to the meeting with a paper bag over your head?
Who knows though? The person could be, insecure and ashamed about like how they look and who they are and all these other things.
No.
At the same time, it could be some type of. But the point is, we can go on. We can
make it up.
We can philosophize all day long of what it is. But I think the lesson here is that's where the conversation comes in. If it's important to them, if it's important to you or me or whoever.
Well, I look at it, if it was important to them, they'd probably be part of the conversation.
Yeah, fair. I'm
first meeting, probably be part of the conversation.
I don't mind turning the other cheek, but that doesn't mean that's the right answer. That's just how I would look at it.
So
if I want something bad enough, I'm going to go get it and take it. Now, that being said, if I don't like how someone's behaving, I'm going to even this scenario, right? If we're talking about this and if we talk through that, this platform can easily be used as to continue the rationalization of this is right. This is the truth. This is where they messed up, but we don't know that. Yeah. So
I'm leaving it at that. We don't know. So
that's why having the conversation can be helpful, but you don't have to also do that. You can't just decide to move on and let go.
I've moved
let
on.
it go and go in another
I'm
direction.
Happy with my decision of moving past because it's right for me.
Well, as a business owner, you get this is decide and every business owner gets to decide what their hell looks like or what their heaven is. I get to decide, you get to decide.
We do.
This is where advisors come in. This is where boards come in. This is where shareholders come in. This is where customer reviews come in. We don't want things in a vacuum. This is where these tools, these social tools can be really helpful. They can really show us who we are. That's why I think that listening to the critics and not blocking people that have negative views can be really helpful. At the same time, unfortunately, it can skew more to this. We don't yet know the research on the psychological effects of all of that, but I think
don't hate the haters.
Yes.
Don't block. I always remember you said that. Don't block the haters. Deal with the haters.
I'm not sure if I even agree with it fully, but there's something in because it's such a fine line because you almost you can get killed. This is why I have a lot of I want to have empathy for people in positions of power, because if you're at the top, all the person at the top gets is pain and suffering if they're present, the problems. So it's how you synthesize that, how you work through that. It's not an easy job to be the leader. It is a hard job. And so it's hard. It's constant. We have to go where the problems are, get our hands dirty.
Be the solution.
It's not easy to be the solution.
We came up with the name the podcast. Jenna and I talked. We sat there on the Zoom, Zoom, freaking COVID. And she's like, "You're going to do a podcast? Podcast?" She's like, "Yes." I'm like, "Okay." So we need a name. Well, what do you do? And I'm like, "Well, we solve problems. Bigger problems, more challenges, more money." And I said, "Well, we look at expired listings." And I kept, whatever, chat. And I said, "We're the solution." And then a friend of mine, acquaintance, colleague, he had a podcast, Be Generous. I was like, "Oh, I like that. Be the solution. Be the solution." And that's been my mantra since April 1st of 2020. Be the solution.
I think you've always been that for your clients, which is why you're so successful.
Just named it, right?
Well, that shows the power of asking questions and, relationships. It's the alignment between a brand and the actual culture. That's like the secret sauce. The culture is what actually happens. The brand is what we want people to think is possible.
True.
Like the culture is in behavior.
It's in behavior.
The value of the core value exercise is the discovery of what we stand for and why. And it's like the discovery. It's the part of the process to discover ourselves as an organization. And this thing, living by it is a life test. The living, I failed. I believe I failed this. I was rereading 30 Days of Thought, my first book, which was written almost 7 years ago. And in the back of the book, there are the core values of Culture Matters. Like the C in Culture Matters is collaboration. Give first, intend to help, and get started today. Unique. Learned. The more you learn, the more you earn. Trustworthy. Trust in yourself so you can trust others. And I went through the values that I had written down. And the first move, make it happen, do it now. A, aspire to inspire before you expire. And there's a story behind all these, like people I met on planes that said, "Hey," this one lady gave me a note and it said, "Aspire to inspire before you expire." Anyway, I went through an exercise of like looking at the values and saying, what grade would I give myself in each of these? And I was a failure. So that's the grade. But I think if anyone cares about culture and values on the call, it's like the value of the values is what we can learn about ourselves from them and what others can give us feedback, pro and con. Yeah, there's so much I've learned from Maria, what she said and how she showed up, our working relationship over the years, the personal friendship that's blossomed from that on both sides of it. It's like there's no greater gift in business than to be able to work with people, to work and enjoy the process of those you get to work with. Like Peter Drucker, the founder of, I think, management, he said, the purpose of a business is to create and keep a customer. It's like when we get away from our customers and we get away from why we started, which naturally I think happens as we grow, the business grows and we grow in how long we've been doing whatever we're doing, we can get away from it. It's happened to me. It's happened to, because I don't think just because I'm trying to, especially, research is me search, psychological term. Like just because you're a teacher doesn't mean I'm avoiding if I have a consulting business doesn't mean that as the business we're immune from the same things that the organizations and all the different industries that we serve would go through. So there's an organizational, as the organization grows, we can get away from the fundamental purpose of a business. And also as we grow as people, we have different life events, we age, like we can grow away from the center of the business, which in the way we could even talk about real estate, like the purpose of business, like why does it exist? It's about other people that need goods and services. And naturally we can get away from that. And I guess I can, I don't need to shame myself over that. Just be aware of, oh man, I got to get back on target. What's the vision? What's the plan? Who needs me right now? Where do I need to be? Consumer facing, right? Employment facing. So it's just, and conversations like this, whether we have this is how we talk when we're not, this is a normal conversation for us. If we're just talking before we hit record. You share what you think, I share what I think, and then all sorts of cool things come out of it. That's just some thoughts that come up when you shared that.
Yeah. Jay, something extraordinary happened for you. I thought anyway. you got to interview somebody that you highly respect, and Dr. Jordan Peterson. And I'm curious to know what that felt like.
There were two J's that day. Backstage, I felt the overwhelming. I'd had the opportunity to meet prior, but this was a very different context because of the intimacy of that being preparing for the stage time.
Yeah.
He asked great questions. He leans in. He was prepared. He was thinking about the customer, which is not just us because the people bringing him in, but who's in the audience. So his questions were around who's in the audience. So that's exciting from a standpoint is, okay, you've studied the textbooks, you've used it, you haven't yet met the teacher from afar. Who are they? Because there's who you might think they are, and then there's who they are. So that's inspiring. Dr. Peterson is truly a teacher and who you'd hope he'd be. And it's like, hey, I could feel the anxiety and the excitement of meeting someone more deeply that you admire, that you haven't yet met. And it was in my physiology and my energy. And hey, would you sign Maps of Meaning? I've read so many. Yeah, it's nice to see a well-worn book, like all of that. There's the fan element that I'm trying to also prepare the teacher to present to these students in the audience. So there's that J. It's very elevated. It's like, oh, there's John Wick. I love John Wick movies. There's a fan element that you're trying to temper. But then if anyone hasn't seen the interview, I would love feedback on it. He did a keynote, and then he did a keynote. I sat in the front, took notes on it because I figured as much based on the conversation. He was going to change his talk based on the conversation backstage, which he did because he gave a different talk based on the conversation. So I had to throw away the 70 some odd questions that I had. But I have been preparing for 10 months. Abraham Lincoln said, if I have 6 hours to chop down a tree, I'll spend 4 hours sharpening my blade. So for 10 months, I prepared. I'm preparing for a lot of things all the time. I prepared before we did this. Even if we're not going through those questions or those contexts that I think we might, I've sacrificed. I am invested in this show with you to honor the opportunity to be on the show. So I've prepared. So I prepare, and I didn't always prepare. I prepare. And so the me that was on the stage, the feedback I've asked from people and the feedback I've received, it was a professional, well put together dialogue, synthesizing the keynote, which was very abstract and educational, to more tactical, what the audience needed. Mm-hmm. I was asking questions and taking notes, but I had been preparing for months. And I think that's an important lesson for those listening. I'm excited. There is a selfishness of meeting someone I admire that has impacted my life and our customers and our business and all of these things. One of the many, but a huge influence, right? Because we use this textbook really diligently and other resources to grow as a person and as a business owner and as an advisor. It's benefited everyone, whether they even are aware of that or not. And so that's an emotional, exciting thing. But because of the preparation, I was able to do the best possible job serving the customer, honoring the relationship, not making it all about me, which it absolutely hugely is about me, because this is something that my ego and attachment is to. So the preparation helped me show up in a way that could provide value, and actually is cool. Just then, as an aside, if anybody's interested, there's a 14-part series on the Culture Matters podcast. It's between episode 9. It's in the 900s. I don't recall the exact number of the episode. There's 14 episodes with an introduction and an outro, chapters 1 through 12 of his third book, Beyond Order, 12 More Rules for Life. Part of my preparation was I reread the book, I highlighted, I took notes, and I've learned all the rules. And there's a 10-hour lecture series on the Culture Matters podcast of me as a student going through those rules. And I was doing that as part of my preparation for this opportunity and I grew from that. That was a exciting. It was fun, and I think I've grown from that process. So that's on the Culture Matters podcast. And in the 900s, we're almost at 1,000 episodes. We will be in August at 1,000 episodes. So there were two J's. There's the fan, there's the student, And everybody has heroes. I was talking to Brad. He's like, "Yeah, what's it like to meet your heroes?" At first, I was thinking, I took it in the wrong way, but no, he is a hero for sure. And I should talk about this. It is great to meet your heroes. I actually think to be a hero, you have to meet your heroes. And I don't think a hero can actually let us down. It can, but to become a hero, we have to meet our heroes and honor our heroes. Satan, metaphorically, met his hero. How he already knew his hero, how he showed up wasn't necessarily the best based on his opinion of his hero. So I think that because the sentiment is never meet your heroes. Like, you want to meet your heroes and you want to honor them, even if, maybe they don't live up to whatever expectation. I think that's more of a projection of the person than it is. It's like, it's not an idol worship here. It's somebody that you admire. You want to meet your heroes. If you want to be a hero, you have to meet your heroes. You have to meet them. You have to honor them. You have to learn from them. You have to, that was a thought that I had, because a lot of people ask me, what's it like to meet your hero or a hero of yours? It was like, it's great. It's amazing. It's an opportunity to have to grow in the relationship that I can with my potential, and potentially have a mentor that I'm here because of my mentors and my students that I learned from both. So, man, that's a long answer, but that's the right answer. I feel good about that answer. There were two J's. There's the fan, there's the student, and then there's the prepared, the prepared contemporary, at least in the sense of company culture. That's not Dr. Peterson is a clinical psychologist. would never consider myself a contemporary to him in that domain. That would be weird. However, I am a subject matter expert around company culture at the level that we work at, small and medium-sized businesses. And that was an opportunity to ask someone who I think has a great brand and knowledge base that speaks to small, medium-sized businesses, that I think we've exemplified by using some of his teachings to help small businesses, whether they knew that was the case or not. He's a great breadth of information that can help small businesses. And that's, not his he wouldn't say, "Oh, I'm a business expert." He wouldn't say that. He's never postured himself that, but he has a tremendous value to small business and business expertise. So I hope to do it again. That's a goal. And it was fun to have an opportunity to share some of myself again with audiences I get to do on your show, because I feel like Rocky in one of those movies where he got fat and stopped training, and then he lost a bunch, and then he had to go back and do training and work out. That's where I believe I'm at in my life right now. And I'm more successful than I've ever been in so many ways, and I feel like an absolute loser. So it's like, wow, what a great opportunity to actually finally earn the opportunity to work with a hero. And it's because of a client. One of our client partners made it happen because they wanted to honor the relationship. God, I got to be more grateful. That's rule 12, by the way, in Beyond Order. Be grateful in spite of your suffering. It ends the book that way. Rule 12.
Be grateful. I start every day. We talk about that, Jay. To be in gratitude, not only when you are grateful and in gratitude will your vibration elevates, because you're grateful for where you are. That doesn't mean that you don't want more. Sure, you can.
I want to say something about you. You have this unbelievable gift of seeing things in people. And I've watched it. There's probably untold amount of agents in this greater Philadelphia and beyond area. Many moved probably to other parts of the country, that they changed being around you and watching you make calls to prospective customers, to service your investor and residential and so whatever context clients, that they're probably spread out all over the country, whether they realize it or not. You change the paradigm by which they operate. And of course, I could say the same for you, as someone that at one time, Maria had me, she gave me a blow-up mattress to borrow so I could have something to sleep on. It's like podcast. We've done on this a couple times. That'll be a future podcast maybe, but you, and I think that if people follow your show and they watch Be the Solution, they put that together. But if you've never seen the show, that's what you do. You've been doing it for so long. And it's one of the reasons why I talk to people on the phone and your name comes up, and it's happened where they said, it's one of the best realtors that's ever existed in the greater Philadelphia market, ever. Why? Be the solution, living that out. Constant, from selling stuff door to door to radio to whatever. You've always been top and inspired and excited people. And, LP Mom, I still remember that. Location, price, motivation, agent, mortgage closing was like a script that you had the agents in the office, me included,
Still
make those.
doing it.
And yeah, that would be a great podcast.
We went to new agents because we have a lot of new agents right now. We went to daily role play. I said, like a shower, got to do it. You're either practicing with each other or on the client, consumer. So we're not going to practice on the consumer. We're going to practice with each other. And people say, oh, I don't like to use scripts. Well, I don't care what you do in life. You're a doctor. They have to ask you questions. A nurse asks you the questions. You get weighed. You do all these things, right? It's the same thing. We have to ask questions. We can't help people without asking questions. The better questions we ask, the better we can help, make an impact. Be in contribution. Be the solution. And with that,
yeah, this was so much fun.
Always a pleasure to have my friend, family, to Chip and I on Be the Solution, and love spending time with him. So happy we got to spend time together in person today. This is just a treat. We're not having to do it on
and in person. And for me, this is very special today, and with you. And I love the conversation. It made me feel light. Thank you for the opportunity. And I'm hoping that this could be a foreshadow for me to be the solution.
Oh, you are already the solution.
Okay. Well, yeah. Okay. Maybe. Sorry, I'm going to hijack the ending of your show. You just got me excited with that.
Jay will be back on before the end of the year. See where he is with all of these wonderful things he has going on. And I just love watching his journey. So thank you for sharing.
Thanks. And listen to Maria. You've been on the Culture Matters podcast probably almost 10 times. Almost.
Really?
Maybe 7. Type in the Culture Matters podcast, Maria Quattrone, and go listen to all those episodes. And they're unbelievable.
I'm going to go back and
we got to get you on again in July. So there you go. It's almost 10.
I love
it. And it should be. Like, I'm upset now. If it's not 10, then I'm upset at myself. So.
All right. Well, I'm going to check it out.